Subscribe to Bizbo and press the bell icon. See boring news turn into enjoyable stories. It is said that when the world didn't even understand geometry, Indian sculptors were carving figures and patterns in fractal symmetry. The temples of Venkateshwara, Somnath and Meenakshi Amman stand proof of that genius. From seeking help from the divine to save their kingdoms from invading hordes, kings and their architects moved to the more practical aspects of building forts like the one in Gwalior and Murud Janjira in what could be termed as the second wave of indigenous architecture. The third stage of the Mughal era was more personal and spiritual as opposed to the practical, mosques, tombs and monuments. Then came the Indo-Saracenic architecture characterized by domes, arches and spires built by the British during the colonial period, which included Luton's Delhi, including the famous Connaught Place, and the country's seat of power, the Rashtrapati Bhavan, North and South Block and the Lok Sabha, all built barely 100 years ago. Now most of this will change in the Central Vista redevelopment project, which has given rise to many a conspiracy. The purpose of this project, however, is simply better governance, and the construction of a new parliament building is the first step in that direction, as the current one will be insufficient to fulfill India's needs going forward. You see, India has gone from 14 states and 6 union territories in 1956 after states were organized on a linguistic basis to 28 states and 8 union territories today. And by 2035, it may possibly go as high as 33 states and 16 UTs. An increase in states and the corresponding increase of MPs is only one side of the story. The other side is the increase in India's population, which grew from 376 million in 1950 to 1,393 million in 2021, an increase of 270%. But the total number of elected representatives in the Lok Sabha went up by just 11%, from 489 to 543, instead of the 848 it should be. Because when India became independent, the founders decided
each MP in the future should continue to represent roughly the same number of people,
which back then worked out to roughly 7.7 lakh people per MP, but is now 3 times as large, about 23 lakhs. For comparison, each MP in the US today represents 7.4 lakh citizens, while in the UK, it is 1 lakh people to 1 MP, making representing a constituency a manageable task. No wonder anti-incumbency is an intrinsic character of Indian elections, and people complain.
We never see our MP after elections.
Therefore, it was decided to regularly revise the number of seats for each state every 10 years in keeping with the growth in population. For example, based on the growth in population formula, Maharashtra should have been sending 145 MPs to the Lok Sabha instead of the current 48. But that never happened, as in 1976, the Indira Gandhi government froze the number of seats at the current level till the turn of the century. Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 2002 once again pushed the exercise off to 2026, which happens to be just one Lok Sabha election away. Pranab Mukherjee, the former finance minister and later the country's 13th president, had remarked,
"The country needs 1000 MPs for it to run smoothly."
If so many new MPs and Rajya Sabha nominees come in, the place will become jam-packed with standing room only like our local trains. It doesn't make sense to delay it any longer, and in fact, while we are at it, India needs to build for the future. Could India, like England and the Dutch, have renovated their old buildings to accommodate the additional members? Unlikely, because as any software engineer knows, it's much easier to write brand new code than to correct an old one. An important part of the Central Vista is a spanking new residence for the Prime Minister. Even though his current residence at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, formerly 7 Racecourse Road, is just a short ride away. Since the new PMR and PMO and the new Parliament building are connected via an underground single-lane car tunnel, it will not require the stoppage of traffic due to VIP movement, an everyday woe for Delhiites. The various dilapidated bhavans that help run the government but are scattered across the country, making coordination difficult, as well as the north and south blocks, will all be brought together in one place in a row of spanking new buildings within the Vista. While the idea is to bring in efficiency in governance by cutting red tape and moving files quickly, what is the logic for the Ministry of Shipping being located hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest sea, or the Department of Technology housed outside of Bangalore, Finance away from Mumbai, and the Coal Ministry far away from the coal belt? Isn't bringing together all of the nation's brains trust at one place dangerous in the event of war? The recent drone attack near the army base in Jammu and Kashmir points towards the future of warfare. And India does not yet have an Iron Dome defense system like Israel that is able to destroy all incoming missiles. The success of ISRO in Bangalore, Atomic Energy in Mumbai, Rubber Board in Kottayam, Kerala, and the T-Board in Kolkata shows that remote working works and can be safer too. However, it was not on these grounds that petitions were filed in the Supreme Court against the project, which the 3-judge bench dismissed in a split 2:1 verdict, with the dissenting judge unhappy on technicalities, not the principle. The central government did not notify the land use change and started work without prior approval from the Heritage Conservation Committee. However, no one protested when Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu redeveloped or constructed new Vidhan Sabhas as their population rose. Some object to the 20,000 crore Grand Vista project on moral grounds, that people were dying of COVID and the government was more worried about a building. Comparing Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Roman Emperor Nero, who legend has it played the fiddle while Rome burnt. Going by this logic, there is always some problem or the other happening in a big country like India. Drought, war, floods, financial crisis. The country cannot stop planning for its future just because of the pandemic. In fact, at a time like this, when people have lost jobs, giving them some work could be considered a blessing. And by completing it at this time, the public will be least inconvenienced as everyone is mostly work from home. Also, those using this argument do not understand how governments work. There are 53 different ministries, each of which have their own budgets and goals. So the Ministry of Shipping will not divert its money to the Ministry of Health. Others believe Modi's urgency in finishing phases of the project before 2024's general elections is just a way for him to garner votes. But it is also possible that if he loses the next election, the work can be stopped and the project scrapped or modified, leading to huge cost escalations later on to be borne by us, the taxpayer. Some are worried that centuries-old artifacts, including the famous dancing girl of Harappa, relics of Buddha, Tanjore paintings and many more among 200,000 items housed in the National Museum and the Archive Annex, could be lost when it is demolished, especially if they are mishandled in transit or during storage, as they will be warehoused for a while before being shifted to their new homes in the North and South Block, which would be converted into museums just like the old Sansad Bhavan. Which is good, as India has only a handful of reputed and well-maintained museums in the country, like the Victoria Memorial, Kolkata, CSMVS, formerly Prince of Wales Museum, Mumbai, Patna Museum, and the Jawahar Kala Kendra, Jaipur. Some worry that the 3.2 kilometers of greenery and public parks along the Rajpath stretch from India Gate to Rashtrapati Bhavan will be lost. And though 3,230 trees will be removed and transplanted, the Central Vista area will see a net gain of 563 trees. However, the most widely accepted criticism against the project is that it was bulldozed through without adequately informing the public. This issue got further inflamed by the controversy that broke out around the same time when the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, decided to demolish their heritage domes built by the American architect Louis Kahn and replace them with modern structures, something that was opposed to by most of its alumni and finally shelved. The same way it was being seen that this part of Delhi built by Edward Lutens and Herbert Baker was being demolished just because they were constructed by the British. A show of strength by a rising Atmanirbhar Bharat that seems to be wanting to open a new stage of Indian architecture, like the towering statue of Sardar Patel in Gujarat to showcase the country's heritage. However, Modi has ignored not only critics but also history when he undertook the project. There is a great aphorism that those who built New Delhi lose it. Prithviraj Chauhan built New Delhi and he lost it. So did Firoz Shah Tughlaq and Shah Jahan. The Britishers too lost it after they built Lutyens Delhi. Even if he does, he will still leave behind his stamp on India's history by creating the infrastructure to enable governance. But this is still an unfinished agenda. Without a delimitation exercise like the one being done in Jammu and Kashmir to create manageable constituencies, The central vista will remain just physical structures without additional representatives from the people. Bisbo's limerick. The Parliament House will have no place to sit when the delimitation process increases MPs by a bit. But the plan to remedy this is being unnecessarily dissed. It's the PM's prerogative to make, even though his critics may be lit. Subscribe to Bisbo and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever Bisbo releases a new video. Sources of all our information is listed in the video description section.